maybe Jets fans shouldn't be so quick to give up on Corey Davis and send him to Green Bay in the Aaron Rodgers trade. Let's talk about it. Well, welcome back to New York Sports WickerMedia. I'm Watsu-K99. Thank you as always for taking the time to watch these videos. So I want to take a little time on here and talk about the Jets wide receiver room, particularly Allen Lazard and Corey Davis. There have been a lot of Jets fans who have viewed Allen Lazard as Corey Davis's replacement. They look at Davis now as completely expendable, a way to save $10.5 million on the salary cap, and now you have Lazard and Wilson as your 1-2, Mecole Hardman as your 3, Denzel Mims as your 4, Bacha Kalup Jones or Irvin Charles, whoever it might be, as your wide receiver 5. I'm sure they'll draft somebody at wide receiver. But if we look a little bit at these two players, particularly at Lazard's usage, it really strikes me that Lazard actually might be better used as a slot receiver. I had thought of Mecole Hardman as the Jets slot receiver when they signed him away from Kansas City not that long ago. But I'm starting to think when the Jets have 3 receivers on the field, Lazard would be best suited to line up in the slot. Now, the Jets coaching staff has come out recently and praised Corey Davis, praising his blocking, his ability in the running game, his leadership in the locker room. Sadly, Robert Saleh did not praise his durability because you kind of can't do that. I'm a big Corey Davis fan. I've been a Corey Davis supporter amongst a lot of criticism from Jets fans. You can make arguments about why he's useful, about why he has been a disappointment, and all those arguments are very fair. But I still think there is a role for Davis on this team, and it really comes down to the cap is one thing, because to me, paying Corey Davis $11 million or so dollars, I'm not interested in saving the $10.5 million when you'd have to go out and replace him anyway. Because I still think the Jets would need another starting caliber wide receiver, especially on the outside, if they let Davis go, and then you're forced to take one in the draft. But where they line up, it's actually quite different. So Corey Davis has only lined up in the slot 22% of the time when he's been on the field. He's an outside wide receiver. That's what he does best. Last year I was actually calling for him to be in the slot a little more because he's such a good route runner and he can block well, but the Jets chose to not do that. They didn't see fit to do that. Thanks again, Mike LaFleur. But Allen Lazard, and this actually surprised me, in his career, he has run 42% of his routes from the slot, and between 2019 and 2021, when Davante Adams was on the Packers, he ran almost half, 48.5% of his routes were run in the slot. Now, this past year, that went down to 37.7% when Lazard became the Packers' #1 target. But Lazard's most efficient season, now his numbers were really, really good this past year, set some career highs, but if you look at the efficiency, it was really 2020. Okay, so in 2020, he posted career highs of 9.8 yards per target, a 71.7% catch rate, 13.7 yards per reception. And in that season of 2020, Lazard ran his routes from the slot 53% of the time as opposed to 47% outside. So it's really interesting how useful Lazard can be in the slot, and it's a little crazy to think of that because he's 6'5" tall. This isn't what we think of as your typical slot runt, little slot wide receiver. Lazard is not that. But he knows how to move the chains, especially on third down. Since 2019, he's 25th among all wide receivers in third down conversions with 50. And with those 50 conversions, they have come on just 80 third down targets. So he's been targeted 80 times on third down and converted them, not just made catches, but converted the third down 50 times. That's 62.5% of the time, which is the NFL's best rate among the 121 players who had at least 50 third down targets from 2019 to 2022. All that to say, he's an excellent third down target, and I think he's going to be one of those real chain movers who has some real big playability. Now, the main way that he did that was through slant routes. And he runs that more than pretty much any other route. And I've got every confidence that Aaron Rodgers will have the ability to hit him in stride, something I can definitely not say about the quarterbacks that the Jets had on their roster this past season. So Lazard is dangerous on those slants, red zone jump balls, maybe taking some deep shots up the sideline. But where Davis is really a lot better is in the intermediate game. His route running is very precise. That's one of my favorite things about Corey Davis. He knows how to run a pass pattern right. And he has a way of getting open. And in the middle of the field, that's what's going to work. So you get Lazard on the shorts and the longs, Davis in the middle, and you've got two receivers who are working together really well. Oh, and did I even talk about Garrett Wilson? So when you look at that 1-2-3, it looks dangerous. And then throw in the blazing speed of McCole Hardeman. And 1 through 4, you've got one of the best wide receiver groups in the NFL. And when was the last time the Jets could say they had one of the best wide receiver rooms in all of football? Years? Decades? It's been a minute. It has been a minute. But again, I also love their abilities to block together. I think that is going to be huge for them. So if Corey Davis has to go to offset some salary, I'll understand it. But keep in mind that this offense looks that much more dangerous with Davis and Lazard on the field at the same time. And if you're getting Aaron Rodgers to play quarterback, you got to do what you can to make sure that he has as many weapons and as many opportunities to succeed as he can. You got to build the wall in front of him, and you got to give him his weapons. So to me, it just doesn't make sense to move Corey Davis. He's got Lazard, who he wanted, but I think if Corey Davis stays on this team, Aaron Rodgers will be happy for it, the Jets will be happy for it, and I dare say even the Jets fans might be happy for it as well. Well, those are my thoughts on the Jets wide receiver room, particularly Allen Lazard and Corey Davis. But I want to hear your thoughts. Do you want Corey Davis to stay on the Jets for this year? Do you want him to go? Or maybe a contract restructure? Maybe cut the cap hit down a little bit, but give him the extra season? I'd love to see what you think. Thanks again, everybody, for watching New York Sports Wicker Media. I'll see you back here with more content from you know where. The Wicker Chair.